Welcome to Disrupt and Discuss with your hosts, E and Casey. A Boucher Ventures production brought to you by It's Just ETV and My Herba by the Fitness Collective. Now, without any further ado, disrupt and discuss.
Hey everyone, how's everybody doing?
I'm doing great.
I'm doing great too. Welcome to Disrupt and Discuss. I am E.
And I am Casey.
And together we are D&D. You guys, we have another one for you. And by the time you see this, it is going to be airing in February, Black History Month. So we thought we would pay some type of homage to Black history. We thought we would give our contribution. And so today we are going to talk about Trailblazers and Innovators, Black heroes shaping science, health, and technology. So we're trying to keep it within the realm of what we discuss all the time, which is health and wellness, which falls under fitness, nutrition, mental health, everything, right? So we wanted to, and of course I got to put a little technology up in there because I love technology, you guys. So I wanted to add that in there, but hopefully this is something that you guys are going to know about. If you don't, sit back and enjoy. If you do, just say, yeah, I got it. Y'all on it. Y'all on point, and let us know in the comments. But we want to honor Black pioneers whose groundbreaking contributions in science, technology, health, and activism have shaped the history and inspired pride and empowerment in the United States for us. Their remarkable achievements are not just moments of excellence, they're reminders of limitless potential within all of us. So we wanted to celebrate these legacies and pay homage to folks in our community who have paved the way, who have been pioneers and inventors, innovators that are not commonly spoke about, but there are books out there that, and all types of documentaries that speak to this. You don't necessarily hear this stuff in the classroom. So this is why
you're not going to hear it in the classroom.
So we wanted to bring you just a little bit. We can't talk about it all. We have books full of innovation from Black Americans in our society. We're just going to pay homage to a few. So sit back and I hope you enjoy it. And here we go. Sports.
Yeah. I mean, like the football, the basketball, baseball.
Right.
But do we really know a lot about tennis? And no disrespect to Venus and Serena, but besides Venus and Serena, although they are extraordinary, there are other people out there that have made accomplishments as well. The first one, yes, for sure, Arthur Ashe. Now, some of us do know who he is and some of us don't. Not only was he a tennis champion, he was also a trailblazer. Arthur Ashe was the first Black man to win the U.S. Open in 1968, Wimbledon in 1975, and the Australian Open in 1970. He also broke barriers in a sport historically dominated by white players. And I remember hearing about him and seeing him when I was a kid on TV, and I didn't realize what a treat it was to see him at that time, because when you're little, you don't really pay that much attention. You just want to go outside and play. Well, back in my day, you wanted to go outside and play.
Right.
His courage extended beyond the court. Ashe became a voice of social justice, confronting racial inequality in the U.S. and apartheid in South Africa. Despite being banned from playing in South Africa, he spoke out against the regime, advocating for freedom and equity.
And I did not know that he was banned in Africa. I had no clue about that. So
neither did I. After, and again, I don't know if everybody knew this. I remember seeing this interview of him on 60 Minutes, but after contracting HIV through a blood transfusion, he used his diagnosis to raise awareness about the disease, founding the Arthur Ashe Foundation for the Defeat of AIDS. He proved that even in adversity, there's an opportunity to educate and inspire change. So I actually remember that interview that I think it was Morley Safer that did with him on 60 Minutes.
Yep, and 60 Minutes.
And at the time, his wife was a photographer and she took all these candid shots of him. If I remember correctly, he has a daughter as well. So it was really sad that because, and a lot of people, that's how they were contracting the disease, because through blood transfusions. Yeah, which in because of that, they've had a stricter screening when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to stuff like that. On the same topic of tennis, I don't know how many people are familiar with Zina Garrison. Zina Garrison also is a testament to resilience and strength in professional tennis. A 3-time Grand Slam semifinalist, she became a role model for young women of color aspiring to compete in tennis at a professional level.
Right.
Her most notable achievement came in 1990 when she reached the Wimbledon singles final. Beyond her sports success, Zina has dedicated her life to community service through the Zina Garrison Foundation and her all court tennis program. She has nurtured inner city youth, offering tennis as a tool for empowerment and opportunity.
That's prior to Serena,
And
prior
Venus.
to Venus.
Correct. Correct.
Paved the way.
Absolutely. And so the significance of these two people, or just the significance in general, Arthur Ashe and Zina Garrison remind us that sports are more than just games. They are platforms to challenge injustice and inspire future generations to overcome barriers.
Absolutely.
Those are just a few. I mean, and then you can even break it down to, what was it? The Olympics, was it 1967? I think the Olympics, when the track stars got up
Yeah.
there and then they did the Black Power fist. And so there's always been activism, and using sports as a platform has definitely been that. And so as we switch gears a little bit, we have Black pioneers in mental health. Now, let me know if you remember this particular test. Not that you might have taken it, but have
Right.
seen it. Dr. Mamie Phipps Clark and Dr. Kenneth Clark, the Clark's iconic doll test.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
It,
I
and for
heard
those
about
of
it.
yeah, it's for those of you who don't know, it showed how segregation harmed Black children's self-esteem when children preferred white dolls over Black dolls. It
Mhm.
exposed the deep psychological wounds inflicted by racism. Again, I remember seeing that. I don't know if that's something that is done anymore, but I do remember that test being given. I didn't get that test, not that I wanted it or anything, but I do remember seeing it on TV and people talking about the findings of it. It was also really critical in the Brown v. Board of Education in 1954, the landmark Supreme Court case that outlawed segregation in public schools. The research demonstrated how systematic racism impacts mental health, influencing civil rights policies for generations.
And I think more so with that test, what I took from it is that it was really showing that there was a lack of representation
Absolutely.
in society with regards to just the doll being the overall. You would see more people that were non-Black on TV, in magazines, in movies. Everything that was sold was pretty much non-white. So it definitely showed that there was not enough representation. So if I had to look to someone that looked like me to show any type of beauty, there wasn't anything that existed really within
No.
that time frame. Obviously, they would look to the other doll as opposed to the Black doll because that's all they've been seen, considered the model of beauty. So that's what I took from that test when I did
Right.
actually watch. It was a documentary on it. It just showed that there was a lack of representation to see ourselves in something, whether it be beauty, whether it be in any form of media or sports or anything like that. We didn't see ourselves in anything. So we always look to, oh, they're beautiful, they're accepted, and we weren't. Right.
And how can you aspire to be a better version of yourself when you don't see anything
Correct.
that is of yourself? So, yeah.
And
So,
that's the main reason that my dad bought me. He would never buy me Barbies. I would always get Black baby dolls, even though I didn't like them. I didn't like baby dolls, period. But he made sure that I always had the Black baby dolls instead of the white baby dolls. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I had a mixture when they were starting to make Black dolls. They had a long way to go. So again, what would I defer to? The white dolls, because I remember I had one Barbie and she didn't have an afro, but she had this kind of hair thing. And it's, what is that? I can't do anything with that. So of course you go to the white doll and you just start brushing the hair and you start braiding it and stuff. There's also a person here, Dr. Inez Beverly Prosser. As the first Black woman to earn a doctorate in psychology, Dr. Prosser explored how segregation affected the education and development of Black children. Her research concluded that segregated schools, though limiting in resources, provided a more nurturing environment for Black students compared to integrated schools where they often face racism. Her findings remain relevant today as debates around equity in education continue. So I can even speak to that because growing up in the 60s or 70s, depending, I went to a predominantly white school where I was one of two Black children
Okay.
there. And having the last name of white did not
Right.
help my situation at all. So I remember being run home, being spit at, the whole nine yards as a kid.
Mhm.
And my parents were pro-Black and everything. But the thing is, where my babysitter was, that was the school that she had in her district. So that was where I ended up having to go there. And yeah, it was traumatic. So
Right.
again, if you were to give me the doll test, I can tell you right now, I would have gone for probably the white doll because I knew that it was less traumatic than
Right.
me being Black, being at that school.
But it does show that I think this situation showed that we, and in history, it showed that when we were taught before being integrated, it was more when you were segregated, we excelled a little bit more than when we did when we ended up integrated.
Well, when you're integrating, you're leaving that safety net of what you knew.
Correct.
So certain terms of endearment, whatever, we knew. We didn't have to explain that because sometimes you have to be what they call bilingual. Certain things
Mhm.
you can't say in certain company that you can say around others.
Correct.
Having to learn that at an early age to be able to
To
do
code
that.
switch.
Yes, that's what they call it now. My family would just, you need to be bilingual, but
Right.
it was different meaning to what it means now. But yeah,
Right.
code switch for sure.
That your parents said bilingual. My mom said, look, you got a professional E and you got E when you at home. So you got E when you at home with your family, with your friends, and then you got professional E when you're out there in the world. So
It was interchangeable because we are in California. We needed to be bilingual anyway, but
correct.
this was a different the tonality when they said it. I knew what they meant between
Correct.
one or the other.
Correct.
And again, your pronunciation of words and what have you, you needed to be above what you knew that they were expecting you to be. I mean, we can go on and on about that, but yeah.
And so that was who? That was Dr. Inez Beverly, right?
Yes, Prosser.
Potter.
Excuse me, yes. And so now we're on to Dr. Solomon Carter Fuller. Dr. Fuller, one of the first African American psychiatrists, made significant contributions to the study of Alzheimer's disease. He was mentored by Dr. Eloise Alzheimer's himself and
Hmm.
conducted groundbreaking research on the neuropathology of the disease, paving the way for future studies. Despite the barriers, wait for it, Fuller's work showed that excellence knows no color. His legacy continues in the fields of neurology and psychiatry.
I love that.
Yeah,
And we
yeah,
see a lot of this more so now than ever with Alzheimer's. The fact that he pioneered he has a lot of contributions to this it's still, there's a long way to go, but at least we know that this doctor, Dr. Solomon Carter Fuller, he was a part of groundbreaking the study of it, Alzheimer's
right.
disease, that we're seeing a lot more of currently in the 21st century, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, yeah. Then we have Dr. Alvin Pausaint, a Harvard psychiatrist. Dr. Pausaint dedicated his life to studying the psychological impact of racism on children. His work emphasized the need for cultural sensitive care in mental health, recognizing how racism is both a societal and psychological burden.
Wow.
The significance of all of these pioneers tackled mental health at the intersection of race and psychology, proving the necessity of equity, empathy, and advocacy in their fields. And I just
Hmm.
wanted to also acknowledge a lot of the Black women that were trailblazers, and they didn't even know it, nor did they have a say in it. This particular doctor, who is alleged for what he's done, was also known for the father of modern gynecology, and is Dr. Marion Sims. And what Dr. Sims did, and I use that term loosely, he performed numerous surgical procedures on enslaved women without anesthesia or consent.
Yeah.
So a lot of the advances in gynecology were done on Black women. They were just lab rats. And this,
Essentially, yes.
yes, that's what they were. And that's why I'm highlighting them, because through their suffrage, we were able to they were able to discover stuff, but at what cost?
Right.
And again, even today in modern medicine, Black women are less likely to receive adequate pain management than white women with the same medical conditions. And I didn't see anywhere where they say, oh, your pain resistance is, or tolerance is higher. But that has been said numerous times about Black women having a high pain tolerance. So therefore, they don't need as much medication as their counterparts, which is a bunch of bullshit. So that in itself just pisses me the hell off when I hear that. But
Right.
I
No,
okay.
but just to touch on that really quickly, I have experienced it, so I can speak to it a little bit, because I injured my back at 19 when there was a lot of stress on my back. There were instances where my back would go out for reasons of either work or working out. I would have instances with my back because of prior. And a lot of times the doctor would kind of like second guess or ask me questions with regards to, did I need the pain medication, even though it wasn't something that happened all the time. We're talking like a year, maybe it would be the next year. And then something would happen, and then I would need to go in and I would need pain medication to ease the pain while I healed from it. And the second guessing was there. So when I hear that, I can definitely attest to it, that there was more questioning of, did I really need it, or should I you can just take the over the counter, right? You didn't need
Take some Tylenol. You'll be
right
okay.
over the counter, as opposed to adding the pain reliever and the muscle relaxer. And looking, if for me, I was like, if you look at my history, it's not like I come in here every month. It's like almost like a year, every 12 months or every 18 months, something would happen to me. Either I'm injured myself trying to lose this weight, trying to do something about it, and then I just throw myself off. It wasn't a consideration. It was more so, do you really need that? Do you really? Maybe you can just take the Tylenol. And I was like, no, Tylenol, we need a little bit more than Tylenol. Yeah, I can definitely attest to it. So just something that I personally experienced. I know we digress, but we're going to go on to something more elating, more happy. We're going to talk about game changers and innovators. And this one I love to talk about, because we're talking about young people. And so there's a young lady by the name of Dasia Taylor. And Dasia Taylor is 17 years old. She invented sutures that change color when a wound becomes infected. This innovation could save countless lives, especially in low income and under resourced areas globally. She used beads to create an accessible and affordable solution. Taylor's invention bridges the gap between advanced medical technology and practical everyday healthcare challenges. The fact that she has that suture to change colors to say, well, this wound may be getting infected, I think that's trailblazing. And she's only 17 years old. So her name is Dasia Taylor. And then we have Heman, I think it's Beckley or Beckel.
Or Bekele, depending on.
Bekele, I like that better. Heman Bekele. He's 14. He developed the melanoma treating soap. So, which it delivers cancer-fighting drugs through nanoparticles in an accessible, affordable way. His invention was inspired by the high cost of cancer treatment. So, proving that compassion and creativity can solve even the most complex problems. I love this, that it delivers what you need through the soap. for melanoma, so cancer. So it's cancer fighting. Love this, love this. And the significance of these two young innovators, which reminds us that brilliance and ingenuity can come from any age, any background, and there's solutions that have the power to change lives worldwide. So we say all this to say that there are still young people, melanated folks out there inventing things. And I wanted to highlight these folks because a lot of times it's undervalued or it's not necessarily spoke about. We usually speak when we speak about a lot of stuff now in the 21st century with regards to us. And you guys let me know in the comments if you feel the same way. You may not, but you really only see the athletes. You really only see accolades for the actors and the athletes and the musicians and things like that. We rarely see homage to or spoken of these young innovators or innovators in particular that are melanated, period, that are out there that are doing things that doesn't have anything to do with entertainment, right?
Right.
And I think that's important because in order for young people to see that there's something else out there other than entertainment for us. I mean, it should be known, but it should be more celebrated, I would say.
Right. Because not everybody can sing and dance and play sports.
Right.
Not
Right.
everybody.
And that's a talent, right? Sometimes it's just a natural ability. These are things that you have to discover and learn and grow and you develop. So
Right. Right. So now we're going to switch gears.
yet again.
So there's icons in activism and leadership. So we have Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale. And one of the reasons why I definitely wanted to bring these up is because we are based in the Bay Area. We're from the Bay Area. So it's whether you agree or disagree with these particular people we highlight, we also like highlighting people that are from the Bay Area.
Yes.
Huey Newton, co-founder, they're Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale. They're co-founders of the Black Panther Party. Newton and Seale created programs like the Free Breakfast Initiatives, health clinics, and educational efforts to support underserved Black communities. Definitely the breakfast program was a hit a lot of times. I know even when we raising kids, grab this and go. They had so many Pop-Tarts on the way and Pop-Tart crumbs all over in the car. So they actually had a program where kids got a hot meal before they went to class. Their bold approach to challenging systematic oppression empowered countless people to demand change.
Yep.
And sidebar on that too, it's like some of the music, as we were talking to entertainers, a lot of the music back then too also fed that as well. I'm Black and I'm proud and all this other kind of stuff. You didn't hear all the stuff that you hear now. I'm not going to say it's good or bad, but it's not really speaking life into our community. A lot of people like to hear it because they like to hear that come out of our mouths. But at the end of the day, not getting in anybody's pocketbook or their wallet, but it is not really speaking any type of life into your people or even to yourself for that matter. Then we have Angela Davis. Davis's scholarship and activism, particularly around prison reform and women's rights, remain critical in movements for social justice. Let's see, her arrest in 1970 sparked an international campaign for her freedom. And I remember her walking into the courtroom doing one of these numbers. I was like, oh, I want my hair just like that.
Right. She had the big.
Yeah. My mom had one of those too. And
so did my mom.
Some of them were wigs. But anyway, and so her arrest in 1970 sparked the international campaign for her freedom, symbolizing the global fight against oppression.
Yes.
And then also we have Erica Huggins. Now, this is the person that I was not familiar with. So I actually learned something. As an educator and activist, Huggins played a vital role in the Black Panther Party's community programs. Her leadership at the Oakland Community School transformed it into a model of community-run education. Today, Erica Huggins continues to inspire with her advocacy for mindfulness and personal well-being and activism.
Yes.
And
I'm just going to step in.
Okay, step in.
This is Erica Huggins I put in here because this one is near to me because Erica Huggins is who I was named for. I was named for this young lady, this activist who was a part of the Black Panther Party. I was named, it's twofold. My mother loved all my children. Anybody who knows soap operas, y'all let me know in the comments. All my children was my mama's thing. That was her jam. She loved all my children. There was a lady on there named Erica Kane. And if you know all my children, Erica Kane, Susie, what was her name? Susan Lucci.
Yes.
That was her real name.
Award after how many times getting passed over?
So she got snubbed so many times.
It was a joke after a while.
But this is who I was named. My mother loved all my children. So she named me, my name Erica. So now it's just E. My first name is Erica. But I was named for, my father was like, okay, if we gonna name her Erica, I want her spelling to be after Erica Huggins. So he was really a proponent for, he was Black Panther, fight the power type of brother. So he's like, we can name her Erica, but she has to be spelled this way. So that's how my name came to be. So the name Erica Kane from all my children, but the spelling comes from Erica Huggins of the Black Panther Party.
Wow. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would have, but know that.
Right.
Last but certainly not least is Bayard Rustin. Rustin's role in organizing the 1963 March on Washington was instrumental in its success. As a strategist, Rustin's behind-the-scenes work brought cohesion to the civil rights movement. And the significance, as we have been wrapping this all up, is the activists demonstrate that change requires courage, creativity, and a vision for a better future. And I have just one Angela Davis story, and it's really short-lived. For those that are in the Bay Area, in Berkeley, there's the Berkeley Flea Market. And it's still over there at the Ashby BART station. And it's a lot smaller than what it used to be. At the time, I didn't live far from there. And I would go to the flea market to get various things and just lounge around. And I happened to look up, I was in college at the time, and Angela Davis walked right past me. I saw her coming and I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. I couldn't believe it.
You fanned out.
My head exploded. But the thing about it was I was in such awe that I just couldn't say anything.
Oh my
so
gosh.
She literally just walked past and I was like, I couldn't believe, and because I didn't want to, when you live in California and people sometimes think you have celebrities and movie stars walking down the street every day, which is not the case. But when I am in LA, for example, and I do see celebrities, it's just like, nah.
Right.
So our thing is to really ignore them.
Because they're human like us.
Yeah. So then when I saw her, I wanted to go up and at least say, because she was walking with some little girl and they were just out and about. And it wouldn't have been a big deal if I had said hi or something, but I just didn't.
Right.
And years later, I'm like, oh, wow. So that's the closest I ever got to her.
That's the closest you got. You couldn't even say,
hi. I was just like, all in my head, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. That's all I kept saying.
All right. If for you to know Kim's like, she stuttered. She didn't say nothing. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Well, today I would have said something.
Yes.
But back then, no.
You're like, I'm just going to let it pass.
I'm going to just let it pass.
Okay. Today I would have had my phone out.
Well, that was way before.
Right.
Phones.
Right.
Yeah. But again, she was just walking around with this little girl and just walking around, minding her own business. And again, sometimes that's in California, you see people and you're like, is that look-alike? No. And then we do find out it is, yeah.
And at Ashby BART station, I used to go there all the time. I used to go to Ashby BART. That's where you get your incense. It took up almost the whole parking lot.
It did.
You can get any and everything in that place. And it was just like the place to be. Candles, incense, essential oils, wraps, everything. You can have t-shirts, whatever you wanted was there.
And then sometimes people would come around and somebody would have a drum.
Yes.
He would start beating and somebody else would bring a drum, or somebody had a rock and they had it. They would hit it up against the pole. So it's got a different sound. So you have all this community of stuff going on. So yeah, I definitely, that's something I do miss.
Yeah.
I haven't been to
Berkeley back
Berkeley in a
then.
while.
Yeah. It had so much culture, so much. It was just a fun time back then to be steps away and you can just get off and go walk, hit Telegraph, go to by Berkeley University, and then what was it, Blondie's? You had Blondie's
Yes.
Pizza. You had what was it,
Top
the
dog.
Top Dog. You had what was the record store? Because it was like Blondie's in the record store,
Leopold's,
Leopold,
Rasputin's. Okay.
Rasputin's, all that, and they were huge back then. So it was a fun time to be out there and just in the midst of all that. It was so much culture, so much culture. Yeah, I just reminisced.
I see. Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. Hot dog. All righty.
Yes, yes. Well, let's get on with the next one. So we're going to talk about medical pioneers who broke barriers. We have James McCoon Smith. He was the first Black doctor in the U.S. McCoon Smith used his practice to platform to fight for abolition and equalities. Even though he was a doctor, he used his practice to help fight abolition and equality. Then we had Rebecca Lee Crumbler. She was the first Black woman physician. Crumbler dedicated her career to treating underserved communities and wrote a medical guide to educate others. So I didn't even know that about her.
Me neither.
Daniel Hale Williams is one of the first surgeons to perform open heart surgery. Now, I do know about him. Williams founded Providence Hospital, the first interracial hospital in America. Who's founding hospitals these days?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? These are
and the fact that it's an interracial hospital.
correct.
Because
Correct.
my grandmother came from South Carolina to Florida, and
Mhm.
when she got sick and she needed surgery, they were going to send her to the Black hospital out there in Florida. And my
Right.
grandfather was in the military and moved out to California. That's a whole nother story. But he has said, no, I want you to come out to California because I want you to have the best care possible.
Right.
So even back then, the stereotype, whether it be a stereotype or due to lack of medical advances or medical equipment, he wasn't going to take a chance on my grandmother not making it off the table. I'm not sure why she had to go, but he wanted to make sure that she got the best care. And something about being in an interracial hospital that kind of, that's like unheard of because
Right.
Black hospitals or white hospitals. So I'm just wondering if that was something that was coming towards the West, because my grandmother ended up coming to the West Coast.
Right.
We all came to the West Coast.
Exactly. Most of
Hence
us
the
came
Bay
to the
Area.
West. Correct. My
Yeah.
family came from the South, down south to the West, but for better opportunities and more diversity. Diversity of thought, diversity of people.
Absolutely.
Then there was Charles Richard Drew, known as the father of blood banking. Drew's methods revolutionized blood transfusions and saved countless lives. So he's the father of the blood transfusion. So things I did not know about. This is one that I did not know about as well, was Charles Richard Drew. These are the innovators and medical pioneers that broke barriers. And now we have one I love because it's the unsung heroes. So these are people who you don't really hear about. And I have one in here that I'm going to talk about as well. Hopefully you guys will check him out. But this is Unsung Heroes in Health. So there is a Dr. Patricia Bath, and she is an ophthalmologist, inventor, and humanitarian who revolutionized eye care, particularly in the prevention and treatment of blindness. So in 1986, Dr. Bath invented laser phyco probe, a device that improved the safety and precision of cataract surgery. This innovation restored sight to millions worldwide and cemented her legacy as the first Black woman to receive a medical patent. And we all know, we were just discussing this earlier, that a lot of times in our community, we weren't allowed to get patents. So a lot of things that were invented and they have patents for were us as melanated folks, we weren't allowed to get patent. So getting a patent for your invention is a big deal because we weren't allowed to. So
Right.
a lot of times things were taken from us and given credit to other people because we weren't allowed to get the patents. So that's definitely something to consider. And then with regards to her, also, she co founded the American Institution for Prevention of Blindness, which emphasized that eyesight is a basic human right. Her dedication went beyond her technical achievements. Dr. Bath advocated for equal access to eye care in underdeserved communities, addressing the racial disparities in rates of blindness. Her significance, oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just thinking as far as blindness, a lot of that has to do with high blood pressure. If it's goes
Correct.
untreated, one of the things that it can cause is blindness, which again is
Blindness.
that silent killer. It might not kill you, but you can't see. But again, if you're not
Exactly.
treated, and I'm more or less thinking about preventative maintenance, then therefore this would make sense that she would have to advocate because blindness would be caused from at least high blood pressure, which, if not treated correctly or properly, can lead to this.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely. No,
carry on.
exactly. But that's a good point. In her significance, Dr. Bath's groundbreaking inventions, and advocacy ensured that sight saving technology reached communities that needed it most, proving that innovation can also be an act of compassion.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to skip around here a little bit because I'm going to save him for last. I'm going to talk about Marilyn Hughes Gaston. So, Dr. Gaston's research transformed the way sickle cell disease is diagnosed and treated. In the 1980s, she led a groundbreaking study that showed how early screening and penicillin treatments could reduce the risk of fatal infections in children with sickle cell disease. Her research led to the nationwide implementation of newborn screening programs for sickle cell disease, improving early detection and invention for thousands of children annually. Dr. Gaskin became the first Black female director of the Bureau of Primary Health Care, overseeing programs that provided care to more than 12 million underserved Americans. So she received the National Medical Associates Scroll of Merit, recognizing her contributions to public health and the well being of vulnerable populations. And I like this because I have relatives in my family on my father's side that had sickle cell. And I say had because they're no longer with us. They actually passed away due to their illnesses later on in life, but they went through a lot of suffering with regards to sickle cell. And if you don't know about sickle cell, it's something that affects your blood cells. When it happens sporadically, it can happen at any time, but the pain that they endure, that people endure who have sickle cell, is it's crazy.
Cells like a sickle, literally a sickle.
Yes, a sickle. Yes, it's
Okay.
like it's red blood cells that shape like sickles or crescent moons, and
Mm-hmm.
they become rigid and sticky, and it slows the blood. It slows and blocks the blood flow. So that's where the pain comes in, and it's unbearable. And to see if you've ever anybody who has a relative or experiences this or has sickle cell, it is just a unbearable pain that they cannot get away from. And you usually have to take them to the hospital or emergency, and they usually have to get some type of pain medication to help with the pain until it subsides. And so a lot of times with sickle cell, there is some people deal with opioid abuse or opioid addictions because they get used to or needing to get the pain relief, and so they get hooked on those meds because
Makes sense.
a lot of times they're giving them, like, what is the one that's so strong that they give you in the hospital? That
Norco?
not narco, it's more
Oh,
extensive than narco.
I can't help you.
I can't remember, but it makes you throw up. I
Don't know
Yeah,
that one.
it's very intense. You guys put it in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. I can't think of it right now what the name is, but it's very addictive. It instantly relieves your pain. You want to instantly relieve that pain so you can possibly get addicted to it. So
Well,
I
I'm sorry not to cut you off, but years ago when I got married and we had to take our blood tests and everything, that was one of the things that they tested me and my husband or fiance at the time
Mhm.
for. And just to make sure that if we were going to have children, you either
Yep.
knew that you had, or you're a carrier, you needed to know something.
Yep.
So,
Because it usually happens and it's more apparent in Black people than it is in any other racial group. So sickle cell anemia usually happens for a lot of times. There are outliers, but most of the time, majority, it happens in Black people. So
mhm,
it's definitely, so you do get to see if you can get a test done and see, do you have those traits,
right.
especially nowadays. So absolutely. But the significance of Dr. Gaston's advocacy and her groundbreaking research is not only that she saves countless lives, but also created a healthcare model for improving early diagnosis. And that's probably what you're talking about, taking the test,
Correct.
early diagnosis and treatment of this chronic disease. So kudos to her, because like I said, I experienced it. I have my cousins. So we're going to talk about Dr. Ted Love. Now, Dr. Ted Love, his career is a testament to the power of combining innovation with advocacy. As the CEO of Global Blood Therapeutics, and I'm familiar with this place, GBT, he led the company in developing now I don't know how to say this one, Oxbryta.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
It's spelled Oxbryta. I think it's Oxbryta. It's a groundbreaking drug that significantly improves oxygen delivery for patients with sickle cell disease. Here we are. We're talking about sickle cell.
Yeah.
Sickle cell disease disproportionately affects Black communities, which I just said. Yet it has long been proven by the pharmaceutical industry. Dr. Love prioritized development of treatments that specifically address this unmet need, assuring that patients had access to life-changing therapies. Dr. Love also served as chair of the board of Biotechnology Innovation Organization, where he advocates for healthcare equity and calls for systemic changes in how underserved populations are treated. Under his leadership, GBT evolved from a startup. Now he's a startup. I love it. Innovators in biotechnology. Exactly. His startup into global enterprise that not only provides innovative therapies, but also raises awareness about challenges faced by sickle cell patients. This is significant because Dr. Love's work in sickle cell research represents a monumental shift in how pharmaceutical companies prioritize diseases that affect marginalized communities. His commitment to equality and innovation has created a tangible change in lives in countless patients. So yes, I definitely like this one because, like you said, he's a startup company, biotech. This is a CEO of a biotech company, and it's a startup. Definitely something, we do have those out there. You don't hear about them, but we would love to hear more about them. And then the final one that I'm going to discuss, and I love watching this guy. He has a YouTube channel. Once I caught on to him when I went through my journey of going plant-based. And I just gravitated towards him. And I think I watched just about his whole catalog on YouTube. This guy, his name is Dr. Baxter Montgomery. And Dr. Baxter Montgomery, he is a Houston-based cardiologist. And Dr. Baxter Montgomery is a trailblazer in the integration of plant-based nutrition into traditional medical care to prevent and reverse chronic diseases. At Montgomery Heart and Wellness, Dr. Montgomery has treated thousands of patients with conditions like heart disease, diabetes, obesity, using holistic nutrition-centered approach. He prescribes whole plant-based meals to patients as medicine, proving that lifestyle changes can complement or even replace medical medications for many chronic diseases, which is something that both myself and Casey, we are like advocates for. Dr. Montgomery's work has been featured on national platforms for his success in reversing severe health problems, showing that food can be both fuel and medicine. He has a channel on YouTube, and it's called Dr. Montgomery. He still goes live to this day, and he takes questions, but he utilizes that YouTube to showcase a lot of people that he has transformed, reversed, or even healed their issues, their chronic diseases with heart. He cured this guy he had open heart surgery, diabetes, and something else, and he cured him just on a plant-based diet. And what he does is he brings them in, he puts them on a regimen. If they're not in the Houston area, he will have them come down and live there for a little bit, provide all their food, meals, exercise, and completely transform their lives by just changing what they put in their mouths. They end up either not having to take a lot of the medication, if not none of the medication anymore. And he's just transforming lives with this type of approach. And he used to work for Johns Hopkins Hospital, which is in Houston, if I'm not mistaken, as a surgeon there. But then he opened up his own practice, and he's definitely changing a lot of lives. And I love watching his program because it gives me hope. And it just proves to me that there are ways you can heal your body with food. You can heal your body.
All
Yes,
that. Yeah.
right. By modifying your diet, exercising, and just treating your body right. If you treat it right, it'll respond and treat you right. I love watching him. And I'm going to put his YouTube channel in the description so you guys check him out. Dr. Montgomery, his significance challenges the conventional boundaries of healthcare by focusing on prevention rather than just treatment. His work serves as a powerful reminder that the link between diet and long-term health. Definitely. He, instead of prescribing a pill, he prescribes you food.
What is that? An ounce of prevention it beats a pound of cure, or something like that?
Right. I know
Yeah,
what
you
you're
heard
talking
that?
about.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. He's definitely a living testament to that. And like I said, he still has an active practice in Houston, and he does his YouTube. Literally, I watched a live yesterday, and definitely go check him out if you want to experience what he's done. It blows my mind every time I look at an older person or a person who they gave so much medication, or they told them you only have 6 months, 9 months to live, and it's being reversed. But we don't hear about him.
No, and you're not.
Yeah.
You're not.
Exactly. I think that we pretty much talked about a lot of pioneers for our installment into Black History Month. Why do these heroes matter, Casey?
They matter because the first part that we don't know about them.
Yeah.
And we don't know what they've done. And we're always thinking that someone else has done them when in fact, or you just assume someone else has done them and you fill in the blank who that someone is.
Right.
But then when you can actually find out that it was somebody that looks like you're like,
Right.
well, damn.
Right.
And again, to your point before, and again, nothing at all with entertainment, nothing at all wrong with sports, but not everybody is cut out for that. It's just not going to happen. And so knowing that there's other areas, there's other significance that you can make in the world for your people, for other people, just people in general. That's why these things need to be highlighted. There's so many more, as you would say, unsung heroes that are out there that don't even want to be acknowledged. They just want to get out there and do what they do.
Right.
So it's definitely important that these people and others are highlighted. So I hope I answered your question. You know me, I always go off on a tangent.
No. That's definitely right. And like we said, it's for Black History Month, right? But in actuality, every day we should be talking about our history. We have a very rich history here in America.
Very rich.
Right. And there's no excuse anymore. There's too much information out there to where there's books, there's documentaries, there's all types of things. People speak, there's podcasts about it. I've seen a few podcasts that talk about the innovation of us as melanated people in America. So I think it's very important to not only discuss it in 1 month, that on the shortest month of the year, we got 28 days to talk about it, but it should be discussed all the time. And I feel that even myself, there's a lot of things that I don't know about innovators that
myself included,
right? That I still have to learn. That it blows my mind a lot of times when I learn that, oh, this person created this, or this person is doing this. It's not only from the past, but let's look at people that are currently doing it now. It's very important, I think, now to show it, especially to young people today, because it's not celebrated. And I think we do need to celebrate these people. We need to make these people known on a continual basis, not just 1 month out of the year.
Or wait until some movie has been made about their lives or something. No.
Actually, exactly. And that's not to take away from other people or other races that have given contributions to America, because this is a big old melting pot. But we do need to highlight our stuff as well, because other races highlight their stuff and we need to highlight ours, and we need to highlight it, like I said, more and more, not only on here, not only once a month, but once a year. We should do it continually in our households.
I agree.
Got a fun fact.
Yes, we do. So are you the one that's going to have fun, or is it going to be
You're
me?
gonna have
Okay. So we usually do getting to know us, but
right.
I just was, as I was telling E, we're highlighting other Black Americans, African Americans, whatever word you want to call it.
Right.
So I wanted to keep with that flavor, if you will. And I just have a fun fact. Do you, E, because there's no one else I'm talking to out there, know who invented the chocolate chip cookie?
And see, I did not know this.
Or is that even such a thing?
Right.
But who invented the chocolate chip cookie?
Who invented it?
Well, since you asked. Ruth Wakefield at the Toll House restaurant. I didn't even know they had restaurants, but the Toll House restaurant in 1938, her accidental creation became a global favorite. So the chocolate chip cookie was an accident.
How do you accidentally make a chocolate chip cookie?
If you're trying to make something else and it's screwed up and you're like, oh shit. And then you're like, oh, we got a cookie.
Some chocolate chips that fell into the batter.
Or she was trying to bake something and it didn't rise.
Right. That's true. Yeah. So Toll House. Yeah, I didn't even know that Toll House had a restaurant. You guys let us know. Did you know that Toll House had a restaurant?
I mean, I don't know if it's still around, but yeah, so that was how the cookie was made.
Well, I like that. I do like chocolate chip cookies, but my favorite cookie is oatmeal. Oatmeal raisin or oatmeal cranberry. I have to have that sweet twang in there.
Oh, okay. So if they're soft, don't give me that hard crunchy crap.
I do not like crunchy cookies. They got to be the chewy soft ones. Yes, for sure.
But okay, here's the weird thing. Maybe my husband thinks it's so weird. I always put my cookies in the freezer.
What?
I grew up like that. We put them in the freezer. I couldn't even tell you why. It was just something we did.
To preserve their freshness?
I guess. I don't even know. It's just a habit. And so I had to
put bread in the freezer.
Well, yeah, until you're ready to eat it. But and then I'll take it out and I still don't want he goes, you don't like crunchy cookies, but you still put it in the freezer.
Yeah.
And he just said, I'm sorry, that's just stupid.
So do you warm them back up in the oven?
No, because we get the gooey ones.
Yeah.
So then by the time I take it out, I mean, it's not going to freeze up like that. It's not a deep freeze. So then it's fine.
So you let it get room temperature before you eat it, or do you take it right out of the freezer?
Sometimes I'll just take it out and just start eating it.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with hubby.
I know.
That's
weird.
It's
stupid.
Yeah, that's weird.
He goes, well, you get your own because don't put my shit in the freezer.
Right? Don't put my chewy cookie in no freezer now. I will put a candy bar. I put bread.
Yeah, we do. I did candy too.
Yeah.
But I don't really eat candy, so I don't really have that problem. But we would do Snickers, and then you just eat all around it. And you got this weird looking thing after a while. And my dad would say, hurry up and eat that shit. Just eat it. You're playing with it.
You playing with your food. You playing with my money.
Yeah.
You playing with. You better eat it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't know about cookies. Yeah, that's a new one.
Yeah, well, that's yeah.
Well, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this segment. I hope you enjoyed the show with E and KC and I, D&D. We just wanted, like we said, to bring you guys something for the month of February, which is Black History Month. Dun, dun, dun. But we definitely wanted to touch on this. Hopefully, we talked about someone that you didn't know about. These people, that's great. And these pioneers, these innovators, these inventors. So we definitely hope that you enjoyed it. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Give us a star, iTunes, on Spotify. That lets them know that you like our podcast. Click the stars. You can send us a text or email. We would love to hear from you guys on the audio side of it. If you're watching us on YouTube, comment down below. Give us that share share this video. We don't mind. We love it. The more you share, the more we build our community over here, and that's what we want to do.
I didn't mean to cut you, but I wanted to say also thank you to those that have sent messages via email and just let us know your thoughts. And we just really appreciate how we've been received.
Absolutely.
It's really inspiring. And again, we appreciate you all.
Absolutely. And to your point, we have been received very well. And I don't know if I try to let you guys know, we hit some milestones on this thing here. We have over 100 downloads, 100 plus downloads. We're knocking on 250 downloads. So thank you guys so much for that. We appreciate everybody who downloads our podcast. Like we said, Casey said, we just started. We started December was our first ever podcast that we uploaded, and we're almost at 250 downloads. So we could not obviously do it without you guys. And the fact that we have hit some number 3, number 7 on fitness podcasts as far as downloads and workout, nutrition. We are extremely, extremely shocked. But excited.
Man, I was like, what? Right. And also, I don't want to forget or leave out our international listeners as well. We're starting to gain on that. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yes. It's blowing our minds. But it's because we're so new, we're brand new, and we're still learning. And we definitely want to hear from you guys and see if you love the format, you love the flow. If you like what we're doing, you want us to talk about different things, we're excited to talk about them. We're excited to discuss this with you guys so we can disrupt. Thank you so much for rocking out with us and showing us that you like what we have to say and how we say it, because we came on here saying we got something to say, but we're going to say it our way. So we really appreciate that you've shown us that you like the way we say it, what we say and how we say it. So definitely keep the vibe going. Thank you guys so much. We are going to head up out of here. Hopefully
it's about that time.
It's about that time. It is about that time. But you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. And we will see you again in the next one. All right. Bye.
Tiki Barber here. I remember those grueling practices, pushing through fatigue and striving for greatness. Well, that's the same dedication My Herba puts into their supplements. They understand the body's needs. My Herba takes a holistic approach to wellness. Whether it's their sea moss, immune defense, or even sleepy time, they have an option for you. Let My Herba make the best you with code BARBER10 for 10% off at thefitnesscollectif.com.